Whales are the only mammals that spend their entire lives in water, never touching land, not once. Today, their family dominates the ocean. Apex predators, basically no competition. You've probably heard someone call them kings of the sea, and you'd assume they earned that title the old-fashioned way. Millions of years evolving in the water, fighting for the throne one generation at a time. Except that's not what happened. Whales didn't grow up in the ocean's royal family. They forced their way in. 50 million years ago, their ancestors weren't swimming anywhere. They were walking, on land, on 4 legs. So somewhere along the way, a land animal looked at the most hostile, competitive ecosystem on Earth, one already ruled by sharks and marine reptiles with a 100 million year head start, and decided that throne looked empty enough to steal. This isn't a story about adaptation. It's a story about a hostile takeover. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how a land mammal cheated its way to the top of the food chain, and why nature never saw it coming. Around 375 million years ago, life crawled out of the ocean for good. For hundreds of millions of years after that, it stayed out, surviving 2 of the worst mass extinctions in Earth's history. The Permian extinction, which wiped out almost all life on the planet, and later, the extinction that finished off the dinosaurs. Mammals made it through both, and they came out the other side with something the ocean had never had to deal with before: a genuinely big brain, sharp senses, a fast heartbeat, a warm-blooded body that never stopped moving. They spread everywhere: mountains, jungles, forests. But one kind of mammal kept drifting back to the coastline. Maybe the seafood was easier to catch than land prey. Maybe the coast just felt like home. Meanwhile, out in the ocean, there'd been a power vacuum for millions of years. Ancient sharks and marine reptiles ruled it, battle-tested, perfectly adapted, completely unbothered. If they noticed the land creatures pacing the shoreline, they probably weren't worried. Why would they be? Nothing had ever successfully left the ocean, evolved on land for hundreds of millions of years, and come back to take it over. They had no idea. That was about to change. Slowly, one group of mammals started spending more time in the water than out of it. At first, nothing about them said predator. Long limbs, clawed feet, a narrow tail built for walking, not swimming. On paper, they looked like the least qualified animals to ever attempt an ocean takeover. But they weren't bringing brute force. They were bringing a completely different toolkit, one the ocean had never had to compete against: problem solving, communication, cooperation, parental care that lasted years, not seconds. Sharks and marine reptiles had power. These mammals had strategy. And in an ecosystem that had never once faced that combination, strategy turned out to be unbeatable. Generation by generation, their bodies changed to match. Limbs flattened into flippers, tails grew powerful flukes, bodies stretched and thickened for a life underwater. And with almost nothing standing in their way, they didn't just survive the return. They spread faster than almost any animal ever has into a brand new environment. Some grew massive. Some grew smarter still. Some kept the one trait that never left them: tight, social, almost tribal family groups. The exact same instinct their land ancestors used to survive out there in the first place. Here's what actually happened. It wasn't bigger teeth or thicker skin that let these mammals take the throne. It was a brain built for a world that no longer existed for them. And it turned out to be the one weapon the ocean had never learned to fight. No animal has ever pulled off what they did: leave the ocean, build an entire arsenal on land for hundreds of millions of years, then bring it all back into the water and outgrown the creatures that never left. So, next time you see a dolphin, an orca, a whale, take a second. You're not looking at an animal that adapted to the sea. You're looking at one that